Welcome to the 7th video in the series, The Character the Dictatorship of the Proletariat According to Marx and Engels. Today we'll be going over the 1871 piece by Marx, The Civil War in France, Chapter 5. I've subtitled this Bourgeois State Machinery Destroyed and Replaced, Army, Police, Bureaucracy, Judiciary. Through the experience demonstrated by the Paris Commune, the proletariat absolutely cannot take up the ready-made state machinery of the bourgeoisie, but instead must smash that machinery and create completely new forms of social organization and class rule. This new form will need to bring an end to the standing army, police, clerical influence over the state, to judicature and bureaucracy with all the hierarchic divisions of labor which forms the basis of the bourgeois and feudal state, and both mystify the state and its operations so as to present there as a necessity of specialized special persons in particular unchangeable roles. The Commune was the dictatorship of the proletariat, and a social republic which specifically held the aim to do away with the conditions of its own existence, that of class rule, and all functions of the state were held by the Commune, not the other way around. The dictatorship of the proletariat itself is fundamentally democratic, participatory, and anti-imperialist form of governance that prioritizes the interests of the working class and seeks to promote economic rationality, enlightenment, and scientific knowledge while ending exploitation where possible given its historic development. In it, 1. The standing army was replaced by a militia made up of working men, wherein the whole of the armed people stood against reaction. 2. All positions within the state were held by working, not parliamentary bodies, and sat by working men or delegates of the working class that were elected with universal suffrage and able to be recalled at any time. Since they were working bodies, there was no quote-unquote checks and balances system. Rather, executive and legislative branches were one and the same, allowing for the interests of the proletariat to be immediately employed without bureaucracy or division of class rule. All positions were paid at regular workmen's wages. 3. The police force ceased being a political entity on the payroll of the state and instead was made up of publicly accountable and revocable agents of the Commune, with the people policing themselves. 4. Education was made fully secular, built around scientific knowledge and critical rational thinking whilst being free of state interference, with both education and science made accessible to all. The clergy was removed from education, and in seeking the empowerment of the working class to take control over their own lives and communities, the church was able to receive money only by way of donations. And finally, 5. The judiciary was brought under the Commune and made elective, responsible for its decisions, and revocable, with their old oaths stripped from them. With the end of bureaucracy and the end of political jockeying, public functions became open to everyone and no longer held only by those with wealth and political prestige. Rather than elections every given period to select members of the ruling class to rule them, instead, universal suffrage was established in the political arena alongside individual suffrage within all businesses through democratization of the workplace, which necessarily allowed the domination of the workmen over the managers. Rather than top-down appointments of officials, instead real business was allowed to take place, putting the right people in the right place who redressed mistakes immediately. It dismissed those who did not uphold their duties, regardless of their position or history, and published all of its actions and words in public, while bringing the public to criticize and inform so that they could improve. With this dynamic and constant motion in all aspects of the state and in the workplaces, the bureaucratic structure was removed. In addition, with both the end of the standing army and state functionarism, including bureaucracy, mystified governmental positions which had massive salaries and so on, a cheap government was established, and in conjunction with that, the dictatorship held up the demand that the aggressor of any way bear the price of the resulting damages, thus also resulting in the state having to pay rather than taxing the workers more. However, the Commune did not aim for a cheap government or quote true republic, as its goals are based in the class rule of the proletariat. Rather, it aimed to 1. Expropriate the expropriators by the transformation of the means of production into mere instruments of free and associated labor, which would bring about communism. Capitalists who fled or refused to serve the commune as managers had their workshops and factories seized and put under the control of associations of workmen. 2. Allow the untrammeled political power of the working class. 3. To be structured to emancipate labor, which would result in everyone becoming a worker and thus productive labor ceasing to have a class character. 4. To remove the social slavery of the worker. And finally, 5. To act as a level to destroy the basis for the existences of classes and therefore class society. Through the removal of trappings and structures upheld by the bourgeois state to mass class rule and make working class organization impossible, it became possible for the state to take action without hesitation or false confusion through struggle against the masses. Rather, the workers spontaneously organized collectively in support of the state which represented their interests, and the workers received support in their organizing external to the state, building the power of the proletariat in direct action. Thus, true democracy with the rule of the people increased in efficiency and speed multifold. The Commune was a federation of social republics, and all member communities sent delegates, which in turn sent delegates to more central assemblies. These delegates were bound by formal instructions from constituents, and they were revocable at any time they did not strictly adhere to the instructions sent from their constituents. The few but important functions of the central government were carried out by agents of the Commune who were publicly known, and their activities under direct knowledge of all. Despite this spreading out of responsibility, there was not any sort of balkanization between the member communities, but instead a great centralization and organization of freely associated parties who sought union for their own material interests. The Commune, as a voluntary association of free and equal associated producers, did not force any sort of association or dominate members under concepts of quote-unquote nationhood and the like. In addition, free movement of society was restored such that all could move where they wished. The Commune's cooperative society needed to regulate national production under a common plan under their control, one which ended the anarchy of production and the quote-unquote economic cycles emergent from such. In addition, the proletariat's direct economic and material demands will necessarily mean that the economic rationality and efficiency that maintains the greatest dignity of the workers will be demanded of by any proletarian state, such that it benefits the working class. The Commune was a complete rejection of the bourgeois edifice. It rejected Chauvinism, electing a German working man as a minister of labor, while France itself fought against Prussia, and put Polish fighters at the head of the defenders of Paris. It rejected nationalism, tearing down the symbols of Bonapartism and expansionism. It brought truth to the character of the state, church, army, and so on, which were defended in the bourgeois press and legal functions from prosecution. And that is my summary of the 1871 piece by Marx, The Civil War in France, Chapter 5. If you'd like to go over the quotations that I derived this summary from, then please feel free to go into the description below, and you can find a link to this Google Doc, and also a link to the United Marxist Pact Discord server, wherein if you join, then everybody will be very happy to talk about this with you. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, anything along those lines. Tomorrow we will be going through the 1891 piece by Engels, postscript to the Civil War in France on the 20th anniversary of the Paris Commune. Thank you for joining me for today's topical summary, and I hope to see you then.